My name is Jonathan Hagerman. I guess I'm a lot of things. Hold on. Do I have something in my teeth? Is that in my teeth? Can you see that?
Oh yeah, you got something going on there.
Just making sure that wasn't in my teeth the whole time. Just a piece of grass. So who I am, I think I'm a lot of things to a lot of different people. First and foremost, I'm a father to 4 beautiful children. I'm a husband to my wife. I'm a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I'm a combat veteran. I served in Afghanistan alongside the brave men of 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines. I guess in this sense, I am the founder of a program called the Dirt Therapy Project. So what inspired me to start the Dirt Therapy Project was actually the personal impact that this was having on my life, and it was something that I wanted to share. So I grew up mountain biking. I grew up in Utah. All through high school, I had a bike. I got a paper route to pay for my my first nice bike, and it was a huge part of my life. I enlist in the Marine Corps, I deploy, I come home, and a period of about 10 years goes by where I'm not on a bike at all. And just kind of on a whim, I jumped on Craigslist and I was looking for a bike, and I found one that I could afford, which at the time it was like a 20-year-old old school Kona. I went and bought it, and I started riding that, and I'd ride after work and before my evening classes while I was in grad school, and just immediately fell right back in love with the sport. And what I noticed is this impact that it was having on my life. It was this time of day where I could go out. It could be quiet. I wasn't listening to music. I wasn't talking to colleagues, or had 2 very young kids at home at the time. And so silence was a very rare commodity. So it was a time it could be quiet. I could go out. I could think, I could do whatever I wanted. And one of the first benefits as I was getting back into the sport that I noticed is that I had to pay so much attention to what I was doing and where I was going that all those intrusive thoughts or all those quiet little thoughts in the back of your mind, they had to disappear. There wasn't space for them. And when I started to let them come back in and kind of take over again, well, that's when you crash, right? And I'm not a big fan of crashing. I have had several spectacular crashes. I am not a fan though. 0 out of 5 stars as far as Yelp ratings. But I just noticed how much it was changing my life and how much of a pressure release valve it became. And so naturally I started inviting other people to go with me. The perfect amount of bikes is N+1. So I bought another bike, a little newer, a little nicer, still a used piece of gear. So then I had this extra, and I'd invite people to go with me. I had a coworker who was very recently retired from the Marine Corps, a lieutenant colonel. He and I at first were running buddies. We were on the same team in a procurement role at USAA. Same team, we'd go run in the mornings, and then as biking kind of came into my life, it also came into his life. I'd invite him, he'd come out with me. Through this dialogue, on the trail, just kind of being able to pitch some ideas or throw things back and forth. That's really how the Dirt Therapy Project was born, was on the mountain biking trails in San Antonio, Texas. When I started this, it was, all right, this is having a huge impact on my life. I want other vets to have access to this same resource. Now, barrier of entry into the sport of mountain biking is high. Gear's expensive, protection's expensive, getting to very cool places to ride is expensive, and I wanted to try and help kind of eliminate that barrier. My initial plan and the initial structure with which we were operating was gonna start this nonprofit, we're gonna raise some money, gonna buy a few bikes, a few helmets, a few pieces of protective gear, and then these become things we can loan out to the veteran community at no charge. And like I said, that was the initial model. What we quickly realized, or what I quickly came to see after about a year, was it wasn't so much people that needed access to equipment. It was much more vets who were already in the sport They were missing their tribe. They were missing their people. And it became much more of a community effort than it was a loaning out of equipment effort. And that's really kind of the same path that the program has taken over the last 6 years. Is it's building this community where you feel like you are heard and seen and you are a part of something. You know, for those of you who have worn the uniform, you get up every day, you put the uniform on, you know what you're doing, you know what your responsibilities are, you know where you're supposed to be. If you're not there, like somebody's looking for you, right? Like there's a lot of accountability. And then one day you go to IPAC or you go to admin, and they're like, hey, here's your DD 214, see ya. And it almost feels like you're lost for a little while, kind of floundering out there. And I don't think that's unique to, well, it's obviously not unique to me. You know, almost every veteran kind of shares the same sentiment, as there's this lack of belonging or unsurety of what do I do now, what's next, where do I belong? As much as this is a mountain biking program, you know, that's just kind of our tool of choice. It's a veteran community where we are fostering those positive relationships, those positive experiences, the impact that this can have on people's lives. That's why the Dirt Therapy Project exists. In the very, very early days of the Dirt Therapy Project, when this was no more than like a tiny riding club in San Antonio, one of our very first, or probably our very first member was a guy named Kevin Geiler. Kevin was probably one of the funniest people I had ever met at this time. He was an Army dude. He'd been out for a few years, you know, wanted to go work on diesel trucks, and that's what he was going to school for. But he just had like a zest for life and this laugh that was incredibly contagious. You know, we'd go out on the trails and we'd be going fast and he was laughing. He would crash and he was laughing. Somebody'd get hit in the face by a branch and he was laughing. You know, it was just kind of like life was just one big happy moment to celebrate. In our very first retreat, we came to Bentonville, Arkansas. So it was 3 of us. It was myself, it was Kevin, and it was Simon. And those are the 3, I guess I'd call them the 3 amigos, or the 3 founding members of the Dirt Therapy Project. And coming up to Bentonville, Arkansas was our first ever retreat. You know, these have become a staple of our program, and these are something that we do a few times a year. We take these large groups of vets, 20, 25 people, and go to like a world-class riding destination, whether it's Northwest Arkansas, up in Colorado, Angel Fire, New Mexico, just incredibly unique experiences. But Kevin came on our very first retreat. It was the 3 of us, and you know, we had this experience that was it was life-changing. It was incredible to be together as just 3 guys with similar backgrounds, similar stories. Obviously, we all have our own unique challenges and very unique experiences, but if you take a step back from those, you kind of find that they fit within this like broader pattern, and you can identify with folks who share that with you. And I know the impact that this had on Kevin's life. You know, Kevin expressed many, many times how grateful he was to the program, that these experiences and these opportunities were absolutely life-changing. And Kevin became a very, very dear friend of mine. You know, sadly, I guess this story has a sad ending, is that Kevin very recently passed away from cancer. So, you know, one of the things that's kind of plaguing our generation of service members and veterans is toxic exposure, burn pit exposure. And unfortunately, he was one of the guys that got caught by that. And, you know, even until his last few weeks, I was able to go see him at the hospital, and he still maintained that zest for life, and he still had that same gratitude in his heart for what the Dirt Therapy Project had given to him. You know, and it was just, I just felt incredibly lucky to be a part of that. And, you know, I'll forever be grateful for his friendship. how do I see dirt therapy and VFF evolving over the next 5 years? So I guess I'll take this opportunity to just take one step back. For 6 years, the Dirt Therapy Project existed as a standalone 501c3. It was its own entity, its own organization. And then in March of 2024, we had an opportunity to merge our program with the Veterans Future Foundation. Veterans Future Foundation, led by Executive Director Jacob Arnold, a much more established entity than the Dirt Therapy Project. Kind of one of their main missions is helping provide scholarships for veterans that want to come through and receive certification at the University of Health and Performance out here in Gentry, Arkansas. Another thing that they specialize and focus on is graduate support. So once you come through these programs, you come out with a certification, you are then added into this VFF network, this family where there's continuing education, there's coaching calls, there are opportunities to listen to subject matter experts within their field. VFF acquired the Dirt Therapy Project. We now operate as a program of the Veterans Future Foundation. This has been, phenomenal. Being able to focus on this full-time is an absolute dream for me. When I started this, I obviously had a full-time job, and I kept that full-time job throughout until March of this year. And so being able to kind of shift my focus and have this, have Dirt Therapy and have Veterans Future be my focal point, it's been incredible. Now, where do I see us in the next 5 years? Phew. I mean, if the last 5 years is any example of what's to come and the growth, the exponential growth that we've experienced, I mean, I don't freaking know. Like, it could be huge, right? It could, maybe we'll be in every single state. Maybe we will have a facility at Angel Fire Resort or at Winter Park where we can use a lodge and we can go host rides. Veterans Future is just going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to attract partners and corporate sponsors. Our relationship with Team RWB is young but very strong. We're working to partner with Project Echelon, becoming their mountain biking program of choice. The Military Warrior Support Foundation. There's several entities that all have that same goal in mind and in common of enriching and improving the lives of our veterans. And so what I see in 5 years is that we've continued to do that. We've built a network of support around the country where anybody going to any location can find somebody who's a friend of Veterans Future. They can receive some sort of, I don't know if it's support or just somewhere they know that they have access to a veteran-friendly establishment. And really, like I said, I hope that our mountain biking program just continues to grow, continues to expand. Dirt Therapy, that name was very intentional. Obviously, mountain biking is our bread and butter, right? That's what we do. But there's so much that you can do outside. I'm hoping that we find a way to incorporate some other outdoor interests, whether this is rock climbing, trail running, just even camping. There's something incredibly special about being outside, breathing fresh air, having the wind blow across your face, putting your electronics away. It's just a time to mentally, physically, spiritually reset. And that is something I think would benefit not only every single veteran, but every person on the planet, right? Just having a time where you can go relax and just kind of feel at ease, I guess. So that's a very long-winded answer as to where I think we'll be in 5 years. I'm excited to be along for the ride at this point. It's been incredible. It will continue to be incredible. It's just one massive roller coaster, and I'm excited to see what's next. There's several challenges that we've faced in the Dirt Therapy Project in several different ways. We've overcome them. I guess just like any small business or young nonprofit, one of the constant areas of need is funding. The bigger your organization grows, the more funding you need. As we started to adopt these multi-day mountain biking retreats, obviously our costs increased, and there was a lot of effort to find partners in the community, find different avenues of supporting these types of events. But what we kind of quickly came to realize is that help comes to those who help themselves. Now, by no means am I saying that I did this or that I'm not taking any part of this, but what I'm saying is what we decided to do was partner with a brilliant artist. His name is John Dasta. He's the man behind Rodeo MTB. And we partnered with John, and he started doing some designs for us. And the designs he was doing were very popular. And after a few iterations, after a race season, John kind of drafted this guy that we affectionately call Sarge. But he's the Dirt Therapy Project. As these got popular, it became a way, selling this merchandise, selling jerseys with his incredible artwork on it, became the way that we funded the program. Yes, we were still receiving donations, and we will always, always, always be eternally grateful for those. In addition to the donations, we were selling these jerseys, and that was supporting a lot of the things that we were doing. And so I guess that's an example of kind of adapting and overcoming. And instead of, asking for a handout, it was trying to find a way to solve the problem that was mutually beneficial. So people got a jersey, they were stoked on it, we were stoked on it, and then we could turn around and use those funds and take folks on incredible life-changing experiences. I think like any veteran service organization, sometimes we struggle in finding how to measure the impact that we've had or measure success. And it is something I've thought a lot about. There are some metrics that I'm tracking or have tracked for several years: participants, miles ridden, places traveled, which is all very important. It's all important data. But I think truly a way to measure success is not the number of people that you're helping, but the help that you're able to provide. Now, what I mean by that is, if after all this effort and all this work and 7 years of grinding, if one person walked away from this program with a quality of life improvement, or maybe they were dealing with some personal demons and they decided that they're going to stick around and deal with those rather than not, that is success. Improving the life of one veteran is success. As the program grows, we're going to continue to track these things, measure how we're improving lives, measure the impact that we're having. I do truly believe that if you impact one life positively, it's all been worth it. The advice I'd give people that are interested in joining the program is take that leap of faith. If you've never ridden a mountain bike before, that's okay. If you are just looking for somewhere to belong and a community to be a part of, I think we're an answer to that for you. If it's not through the Dirt Therapy Project, maybe it's through a partner organization. Maybe Team RWB is where you find your crew. You're a hiker, you're a runner, you're a camper. But I guess what the open invitation is, just try something and try something new. We have chapters all over the country. There are veteran service organizations that we partner with that are all over the country, and simply reaching out and getting connected, maybe that's the hardest step. I don't know. Maybe just getting plugged in is what you're struggling with, but I encourage you and I implore you to take that first step, reach out, make that connection, and see what kind of outdoor activity improves your quality of life. If you need help doing that, please email me. I'm happy to connect you. I'm happy to walk you through that. I'm happy to do whatever I can to help you improve your quality of life. VFF has found several unique ways to collaborate with other veteran service organizations to improve the lives of our veterans. As I mentioned, one of our new and great partners is Team RWB. I think RWB has a lot of experience specifically in the outdoor space, encouraging activity, encouraging fitness, encouraging, just like we've mentioned, just different ways of feeling good outside your home. Project Echelon is another partner program of ours. They've got a very big presence in the road biking scene. Hopefully they're essentially going to be the program that we funnel people who come to us and they're like, oh yeah, I want a road bike. Like, okay, well, we know the perfect people to connect you with. And then there's numerous other ways that the community can support us. We've found a lot of love for the program here in Northwest Arkansas. We've found a lot of open arms as far as hosting events, getting shuttle services at Leatherwood, or the Two Wheels production guys coming out and playing music at our Veterans Day events. It's been wonderful to get embraced like that. And I just encourage everybody to continue doing that.